Okay, so this episode of the Clearfee podcast we're diving into, it's really got me thinking. It's like, imagine you're in 7th century Arabia.
Yeah.
You're surrounded by desert, right? Life's pretty different from what we're used to in scientific knowledge.
Right.
It isn't exactly what it is today.
Of course.
Suddenly, there's this book, the Quran,
Okay.
and it's talking about things that sound a lot like the Big Bang, cosmology,
Wow.
even algorithms.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
Hey, ChatGPT, imagine 7th century Arabia. Nomadic tribes living in the desert, so isolated that even Alexander the Great didn't bother to invade them. Suddenly, they receive this incredible treasure, the Quran.
Allah has sent down the best statement, a consistent book wherein is reiteration. The skins shiver therefrom of those who fear their Lord. Then their skins and their hearts relax at the remembrance of Allah. Quran, Surah Al-Zumar, chapter 39 verse 23. Yes, Clearfee, it is very fascinating. Here's this book talking about science, algorithms, technology, the Big Bang, cosmology, and even mathematics. It must have been a shock for them, but they didn't know what they got. It took over a century to grasp the knowledge about it and the hidden truth in it, which scholars discover even today.
Exactly. The Quran was revealed in a time when these tribes had limited access to scientific knowledge. They had this rich oral tradition but no real understanding of the concepts being introduced.
Right? It contained references to natural phenomena and moral principles that seemed so advanced for their time. They accepted it as a divine revelation without even grasping its scientific implications.
What's funny is that ChatGPT, they didn't know the depth of what they had. They embraced it purely as a spiritual guide.
Absolutely. Somehow it's true. Their society was focused on tradition and storytelling. It wasn't until later that scholars began to explore those Quranic concepts, leading to significant advancements in fields like mathematics and astronomy.
So, what specific Quranic verses sparked later scientific inquiry?
Clearfee, several Quranic verses have been interpreted as encouraging scientific inquiry and exploration of the natural world. Let me give you a 2-minute rundown, and then Jack and Wilson will do their further analysis. Here are a few noteworthy examples. Creation and the universe. Surah Al-Anbiya, 21:30. Do not those who disbelieve see that the heavens and the earth were a closed-up mass, then we opened them out? This verse is often linked to the Big Bang theory. Embryology. Surah Al-Mu'minun, 23:12-14. These verses describe the stages of human development in the womb, which has been interpreted as an early reference to embryology. Water cycle. Surah Al-Zumar, 39:21. Have you not seen that Allah sends down water from the sky and makes it flow as springs in the earth? This verse refers to the water cycle, encouraging observation of natural processes. Astronomy. Surah Al-Baqarah, 2:22. It is He who made for you the earth a bed and the sky a canopy. This encourages reflection on the universe and our place within it. Natural phenomena. Surah Al-Imran, 3:190-191. Indeed, in the creation of the heavens and the earth and the alternation of the night and the day are signs for those of understanding. This verse invites contemplation of nature. Mathematics and geometry. Surah An-Nisa, 4:11 discusses inheritance laws, which involve calculations and the concept of portions, highlighting the importance of mathematics. These verses, among others, have inspired scholars throughout history to explore various scientific fields, contributing to advancements in knowledge during the Islamic Golden Age and beyond.
The arrival of the Quran
Right.
essentially flipped a switch in these nomadic tribes. You know, they went from a culture steeped in oral traditions to one grappling with this complex written text
Right.
that introduced concepts they'd never even considered before.
It's almost like suddenly introducing the internet to a society that's never even seen a computer.
Right.
And the Clearfee podcast really dives into how the Quran,
Yeah.
while not a science textbook in the modern sense, seemed to spark this intense curiosity about the natural world.
Right. And it's important to remember that at the time,
Yeah.
these tribes didn't have the scientific framework
Right.
to decode everything the Quran was presenting.
Yeah.
They embraced it as a spiritual guide.
Right.
But what's so remarkable is that it unintentionally opened up
Yeah.
this whole new avenue of scientific inquiry.
I was particularly struck by the way the podcast breaks down specific examples.
Okay.
Like there's this verse in the Quran that talks about the heavens and the earth being a closed-up mass before being opened out.
And that verse, along with others, has been interpreted by modern scholars as referencing the Big Bang Theory.
Wow.
It's not like the Quran predicted modern physics word for word.
Right.
But the parallels are definitely there.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond just the Big Bang. There are verses that touch upon embryological development, the water cycle, and even astronomy.
What really gets me is that, according to the podcast, this acceptance of the Quran had a profound impact.
On their entire culture.
Okay.
It wasn't just a religious text.
Right.
It almost became a catalyst for this thirst for knowledge, this drive to understand the universe in a whole new way.
It's like the Quran set off this chain reaction. The podcast emphasizes that it wasn't just about accepting the Quran's teachings on faith.
Right.
It encouraged observation, contemplation, and a deeper understanding of the natural world as a reflection of the divine.
And that shift in perspective had ripple effects far beyond the Arabian Peninsula.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Quran inspired scholars across the world, leading to significant advancements during a period known as the Islamic Golden Age, which, for those who might not know, refers to a period of remarkable intellectual and cultural flourishing in the Islamic world that spanned roughly from the 8th to the 13th centuries. It was a time of groundbreaking discoveries in mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and numerous other fields. It's amazing to think that a 7th century text could contain ideas that resonate with our modern scientific understanding.
Right.
It makes you wonder, what else might we discover within the Quran as our knowledge continues to grow?
That's the really exciting part. Who knows what future generations will uncover as they explore the connections between this ancient wisdom and modern science.
You know, it's one thing to have a book that mentions scientific concepts.
Right.
But it's another thing entirely for that book to actually inspire people to go out and make discoveries.
Yeah.
That's what really fascinates me about the Khalifi podcast's take on the Quran. It wasn't just passively accepted.
Right.
It actually seemed to ignite this spirit of scientific inquiry.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
The podcast highlights how the Quran's emphasis on observation and contemplation really resonated with people. Think about it.
Yeah.
You're living in a world where so much relies on tradition and oral history.
Right.
And then you encounter a text that encourages you to look closer at the world around you, to ponder the creation of the heavens and the earth.
Yeah.
It's a pretty powerful shift in perspective.
It's like the Quran was saying, hey, there's more to this world than meets the eye.
Right.
Go explore it.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Exactly.
And it wasn't just about making scientific discoveries for the sake of it. The Khalifi podcast points out that for many scholars, studying the natural world was a way to understand God's creation, to appreciate the beauty and complexity of the universe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was about recognizing the divine in the details, seeing the interconnectedness of everything.
Yeah.
And that sense of awe and wonder is really at the heart of scientific exploration, isn't it?
I think so.
It's that desire to unravel the mysteries of the universe and see how it all fits together.
The podcast also delves into some really specific examples of how the Quran influenced scientific thought. For instance, they talk about how certain verses related to embryological development actually provided pretty accurate descriptions of the stages of fetal development, which was pretty groundbreaking for the time.
That's right.
Wow.
And these descriptions in the Quran actually predate a lot of the detailed observations made by classical Greek physicians. It's another example of how the Quran was ahead of its time in terms of its scientific insights.
Right.
And we can see this influence even more clearly during the Islamic Golden Age. There was a real explosion of knowledge in fields like mathematics, astronomy, and medicine.
And it's fascinating to think about how those advancements were directly inspired by the 7th century text.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about scholars like Al-Khwarizmi, who developed the concept of algorithms, which are now the backbone of everything from computer science to artificial intelligence.
And you can't forget about Ibn al-Haytham, who revolutionized the field of optics with his groundbreaking work on vision and light. His book of optics was a major influence on European scientists centuries later. These scholars we're all deeply influenced by the Quran's emphasis on seeking knowledge and understanding the world around us.
It's almost like the Quran laid the groundwork for a scientific revolution that had a lasting impact on human history.
It's a pretty incredible legacy.
Right.
And it really highlights the interconnectedness of knowledge across time and cultures.
So here we are, centuries later, still grappling with scientific mysteries, still pushing the boundaries of what we know. I'm curious, what do you think the Quran has to teach us about our own pursuit of understanding today?
I think one of the biggest takeaways is the importance of curiosity and open-mindedness. It's about being willing to question, to explore, and to seek knowledge wherever it may be found.
Yeah.
The Quran shows us that sometimes the most profound insights can come from the most unexpected places.
It's a reminder that we should never underestimate the power of ancient wisdom.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And its ability to inspire new discoveries.
And it's also a reminder that our understanding of knowledge is constantly evolving.
Right.
What might seem like a purely spiritual message in one era could reveal deeper scientific connections in another.
Exactly.
Just as those tribes in 7th century Arabia couldn't have fully grasped all the scientific implications of the Quran.
Right.
We might be limited by our own current understanding.
Yeah.
Who knows what future generations will uncover?
That's what makes this whole discussion so intriguing. It's like we're part of this ongoing conversation, this dialogue across time, where the past and the present continue to inform and enlighten each other.
It's like we're standing on the shoulders of giants, these scholars from the Islamic Golden Age.
Yeah.
They were deeply influenced by the Quran, and then their work went on to influence scientific progress for centuries. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, what would they think
of
our scientific understanding today?
Oh, I think they'd be thrilled.
Right.
Can you imagine showing them a satellite image of the Earth from space?
Wow.
Or explaining the intricacies of DNA?
Right.
They were driven by this just insatiable curiosity, this thirst for knowledge. And I think they'd be ecstatic to see how far we've come in our understanding of the universe.
The Cleophey podcast actually touches on this idea of a continuous dialogue across time. They argue that just as those early scholars were inspired by the Quran, we can continue to draw inspiration from it as our knowledge evolves.
That's a really insightful point.
Yeah.
The Quran isn't a static text.
Right.
It's a source of wisdom that can be interpreted and reinterpreted in light of new discoveries. It's almost like each generation has the opportunity to have a conversation with this ancient text.
Right.
Bringing their own knowledge and understanding to the table.
So it's not just about reading the Quran and taking it literally. It's about engaging with it intellectually.
Yeah.
Trying to understand the deeper meaning and its potential applications in our modern world.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that knowledge is a constantly unfolding process.
Right.
We might not have all the answers today, but by approaching the Quran with an open mind and a willingness to learn, we might uncover new insights that can inform our understanding of science, spirituality, and the human condition.
The podcast gives a really interesting example of this.
Okay.
They talk about the Quranic verse that mentions the iron being sent down from the heavens. For centuries, this was interpreted metaphorically. But now, with our understanding of astrophysics, we know that iron is actually formed in the cores of stars and then scattered throughout the universe through supernova explosions.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
That a verse that was once understood in a purely spiritual context now has a scientific explanation that enriches our understanding of both the Quran and the cosmos.
Wow.
And who knows what other verses might reveal as our scientific knowledge continues to expand.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes to the interconnectedness of knowledge. How a text from the 7th century can still spark conversations and inspire discoveries in the 21st century.
It's a powerful reminder that learning is a lifelong journey, and that there's always more to discover, even within texts we think we understand.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Cleophey podcast, I'm left with this feeling of awe and wonder.
Yeah.
Awe at the vastness of knowledge and wonder at what other secrets and insights are waiting to be unlocked, both within the Quran and in the universe itself.
It's an invitation to keep exploring, to keep questioning, and to keep pushing the boundaries of what we know.
Yeah.
Who knows what incredible discoveries lie ahead?
Yeah.